Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I got a crazy current events video for you guys. This is just stories in which I react to ridiculous things that are going around. I got a lore video on GTA coming out very soon, within just a few days, so just be patient with me on that. But anyways, a week ago we covered a story in which these protesters were going around just dumping milk all over the floor in like a department store in the UK. I don't know, what they were thinking or what they would hope this would accomplish, but now we got something even much more stupider than that, and we have this. Two young climate protesters who threw tomato soup over one of the world's most famous paintings have pleaded not guilty to criminal damage charges. On Friday, 20-year-old Anna Holland and 21-year-old Phoebe Plummer made headlines around the world after they were filmed opening 2 cans of Heinz tomato soup and throwing the contents over Vincent van Gogh's Sunflower at the National Gallery in London. Let's take a look at the video right now.
Security.
What is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice? Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people? The cost of living crisis is part of the cost of oil crisis. Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup. Meanwhile, crops are failing. Millions of people are dying in monsoons, wildfires, and severe drought. We cannot afford new oil and gas. It is going to take everything we know and love.
So yeah, that is what they thought would help their cause. And this group that's responsible for this is Just Stop Oil. Just Stop Oil is a protest group that was formed earlier this year, and apparently their goal is to get rid of all fossil fuels in the United Kingdom, and they want to transfer it to clean and renewable energy. And a lot of people believe this, but the thing is, though, is a lot of people, even though there's nothing wrong with the cause itself, what they believe in, that's their views. That's fine to have that. There is a problem with how they go about doing this. Vandalizing property, destroying, a painting like this. Like this is a crime at this point. This does not help your cause. This makes your cause look stupid, and also makes people hate you and hate your organization when you do stuff like this. And I know exactly why they're doing this. They're doing this because they think that this is going to raise awareness for their cause, just like the people who are dumping milk. But this is not going to be the attention that you want. It's going to be negative attention. People are going to think that your organization is a bunch of maniacs. This isn't going to attract people to your cause. Like, think about it this way. Is somebody going to watch this video of, these idiots just, crossing over this wire and just throwing tomato sauce on Vincent van Gogh's painting and just think, you know what? They are completely right. I'm going to transfer to clean energy now. I'm going to buy an electric car right now. Them dumping that tomato sauce all over Vincent van Gogh's painting really convinced me. Really? I don't know, what goes through their minds. And to top it off, what does Vincent van Gogh have to do with any of this at all? What? I was reading some reports that it was supposedly like an oil painting, and so that's why they did that, but that has nothing to do with fossil fuels. So the time that Vincent van Gogh, lived at that time, people weren't really driving around in cars. In the later parts of his life, there was, only rich people really had cars, and those were the early ones. People rode around on horses when it was Vincent van Gogh's time. So I don't know what they're even thinking about doing with throwing tomato sauce on a prized painting. And, we got more to this article. There is some minor damage to the frame, but the painting is unharmed. The museum said in a statement shared on social media. Sunflowers is unharmed, is now back in display in room 43, the museum said. The two women who are members of the activist group Just Stop Oil were arrested after the incident and appeared in court on Saturday. They were charged with criminal damage to the frame of Van Gogh's masterpiece, according to BBC. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. And what I find ridiculous is this part of the article later on, which says this. Prosecutor Ola Oyedepo said that even though they threw the orange substance over the painting, knowing that there would be protective case over it, there was still damage to the frame. Exactly. So they intended to cause some kind of damage. They knew that there was going to be, they knew that there was going to be a protective case over it, but they didn't expect this was going to cause no damage. And what I find ridiculous is what their lawyer says. Their lawyer, Katie McFadden, said that the prosecution needs to prove the damage has been caused, and that the extent of the damage would be relevant to the proportionality assessment in weighing up their right to expression. Okay, this lawyer is stupid, and why I'll tell you this is that, let's take a look at, we got a picture up here on the screen. So you can see that this rope right here, this rope you are not supposed to cross over. A lot of museums have stuff like this. You are not supposed to cross over that rope. You weren't allowed to. And I'm sure, while I don't know what the interior of the museum looks like, there has to be some kind of signs or something like that that says, do not cross the rope. They cross the rope, and what they are doing at that point is they are trespassing. Because even though a museum is open to visitors, if the museum people tell you to leave, you have to leave at that point. If you do not leave, then at that point it is trespassing. And so they climbed over that, knowing they are not allowed to climb over that, and they threw tomato soup over this painting. Now, for the lawyer that says there has been no damage done to the frame and that the prosecution has to prove it, we can just look at the frame itself. Look at this right here. I actually highlighted specifically. You can look at the top of the frame, at the bottom of the frame. The tomato sauce is on that. It's not easy to get that out. Tomato sauce is really annoying to get it out on anything that it goes on. So I'm sure the museum has ways to clean this up and deal with it. That they're there to preserve works of art after all. But this is an unnecessary nuisance. This caused the museum time and money, and they should be held liable for that. And you have the freedom to protest. You have the freedom to expression. But you lose that freedom to protest the moment you start vandalizing. The moment you start vandalizing, at that point, you are not a protester anymore. You are a vandal. So that their argument for free expression is invalid here. And like I said, even if they weren't even damaging the painting, the second that the museum owner tells them to leave, they have to leave. So this argument of freedom this is just a failure. I don't know why this lawyer even agreed to take this case. The lawyer probably just cares about money at this point. But the lawyer would know. Any decent lawyer would know they have no chance in court. There's no way that they're gonna win this case. Anyways, what we have here, the women were released on Saturday, but District Judge Tan Erkam said that they are not to enter any galleries or museums. They are also not allowed to have any paint or adhesive substances in a public place. Their trial was set for December 13th at the City of London Magistrates Court. Yeah, they're probably not going to listen to that. So these protesters have, a lot of these protesters have gone crazy. They glue their hands to roads with super glue. They disrupt traffic. They throw paint on buildings. There was the protest group that we had, Animal Rebellion, last week. They threw paint on government buildings, the House of Parliament, and they were also throwing paint on hunting shops. And actually, what also happened is recently in this exact same group, Just Stop Oil, they actually threw paint all over the Scotland Yard sign. So there's another member that was actually arrested for causing damage to Scotland Yard. So it's like I was saying about the protesters. These protesters are hated. People, get really pissed off when they see stuff like this. They're destroying works of art. When they're destroying works of art, like what they do with Van Gogh, they are, damaging property when they throw paint around, and they're being basically a nuisance when they block traffic. When they glue their hands to the road and block traffic, they're being a nuisance. Like I said, you got the freedom to protest. You don't have the freedom to vandalize. You don't have the freedom to block traffic. But a lot of these protesters do, and they think that because doing something like this, that this is going to get more attention to their cause. And sure, while it might get more attention, it is not the attention that you want. More people are going to, if there's anybody that's undecided right now, they're definitely not going to support your group. There is better ways to go about this. Why don't you protest in front of, oil companies? Why don't you do that? Why don't you try to educate people on your cause? There's better ways to go about doing this. But doing something like this, like vandalism, this isn't going to help at all. And this is just going to make people, dislike you. And Also, I'd like to add on, I don't want to get into this whole argument of what their protest cause is based on, but also they have to understand that not everybody can afford an electric car. Like a lot of, people think that everybody can afford an electric car. Electric cars are expensive. Gasoline cars are always cheaper. That's just the thing. So not everybody can afford an electric car. So why don't these protesters try to encourage some kind of incentives for people to actually get electric cars, to get off of fossil fuels? Maybe, discount electric cars, maybe, maybe support policies in which people would have lower taxes if they were to switch to an electric car. Don't increase taxes on people for not buying electric cars, but actually decrease taxes, because then there's more of an incentive. If they know they pay less, then if they pay less in taxes, if they know they get some kind of tax break, like somebody buys an electric car, they get a tax break, for something. They have their property taxes reduced or something along those lines, something like that. But I personally don't like it when governments would increase taxes on people to encourage them to buy electric cars. But I'm sure these people would encourage that. I think that the solution would be, if you want people to get electric cars, you have to find companies have to figure out ways to reduce the cost on them, make more affordable electric cars, and on top of that, also reduce taxes. If you reduce taxes, you create an incentive. People know that it's they pay less in taxes, but not to raise taxes on people who drive gasoline cars, because all that does is just irritates people. But that's my whole view on this. I think this group is just stupid, and they're gonna cause problems for their group. This is not going to help their cause at all. And I don't know, what these protesters, a lot of them have gone crazy with stuff like this. Like I said, it's just going to cause problems. It's not going to help your cause. And anybody who is, undecided, I don't think this is going to be the tipping point at all. Are they really going to think, what? I'm going to stop using a fossil fuel car at this point, because I saw somebody throw tomato sauce on Vincent van Gogh's painting. And, imagine, being somebody like Van Gogh, creating a work of art only for, idiots like, over 100 years later to try to destroy it. My God. And what would happen if that frame wasn't there, guys? If that frame wasn't there, I don't think that they would, I don't think they would care, personally. I don't think they would have cared if they damaged the painting. But the frame is damaged, and they should be held liable, and I hope they are prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But that's, my view on the whole thing. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.